Okay, so what's up guys? Today I'm gonna do interview with my former acting teacher Steve Josephson, and you may sorry. So hi Steve.
Hey.
So firstly I would like to say sorry for my English. I'll do my best. And
his English is great.
Secondly, you may ask why to do interview in my fitness YouTube channel with my former acting teacher. What's the sense? And probably
what's the reason?
The Steve probably could tell you more about his story, why he started with resistance training and so on.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
Well, I always liked exercising, right? So performing is a little like being an athlete, and so I danced, I did stuff. I always really enjoyed it. But when I was when I was almost 30 years old, I was in a car accident that was very, very bad. It actually destroyed my pelvis, my leg. They didn't ever expect me to walk again. Mm-hmm. And in fact, to do the surgery, they actually took my leg off my body, which means they had to break part of the pelvis and remove the muscles and go in with screws. And it was a very long rehabilitation. And even...
May I interrupt you? So did they literally take your leg off?
They literally, I read the operating... They in order to get to... so what broke was the acetabulum. So the pelvis has the nice socket like this, and the head of the femur comes in, and your leg moves like this. So what happened in the car accident was my leg went all the way through. They had to pull it out. I no longer had the cup to hold my leg. In the beginning, they thought it was too difficult, that they would not be able to operate. There were too many pieces. There was nothing left. But they did find a surgeon who was an expert at doing this. But the problem was the surgery, in order to do this, since the part they had to repair was the actual cup, they had to take my leg off to get to it because the surgery was in here. So they actually broke the iliac crest, the top of the pelvis, where all of the gluteals attach to it, because you can't cut muscle. But bone will regrow. So they broke the bone to remove the muscle. And then they took my leg, and it was very funny. I was reading the report, and they had to tag everything what it was. They wrote tags on the arteries and muscles, because they took them off. And when they put it back, they wanted to make sure everything had to go back in the right way. So they took the leg off, and they sat it next to me in the table. And then for 6-8 hours, I had no leg, and they were in there with drills, and it's terrible. Actually, one of the worst things that I did is before that, they put me in traction for about 2 weeks, but it was the old-fashioned kind.
May I ask, what's traction?
Traction. You know when you see the old movies in the hospital and someone is hooked to the pulley in their bed, and they have sandbags, the weights hanging to pull it out? So what they did is, like here, they actually, while I was awake, they took a drill, Black & Decker drill with a drill bit, and they drilled straight through my thigh bone with a bolt, like hardware, and attached it to pulleys and sandbags. And so for 2 weeks they were pulling my leg out of the socket. It was really terrible. But then I had the surgery. They took my leg off, they put my leg back on. But I still never recovered because the surgery was so extensive. I have nerve damage, scar tissue, and arthritis. And because they removed things didn't go back exactly the way they are, especially dealing with some of the screws sticking out, and especially dealing with my torso and where my leg comes in. So for 7 years, actually, for 7 years afterwards, I was in a wheelchair, mostly.
Before we go further, may I ask you when exactly was the year of surgery? Since it looks like science fiction for me. You know, I haven't heard about the type of surgery like that.
Well, you know, it's funny when doctors look at my X-ray, they can actually tell what surgeon did it, because I guess there's only one guy in Los Angeles who really does this. And it was a while ago. It's been over 25 years. It was in 1992.
Yeah, I was born in 1992.
So wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel really bad. No,
I mean.
I know, but you think science would have improved now?
It's amazing.
But really, actually, science hasn't, because I go to doctors a lot, and there's really nothing yet now to do. And actually, even if I wanted to have a hip replacement or anything else done to it, they really can't. They would actually have to re-break everything and take my leg off again to get the screws out. So I'm kind of stuck with what I have. And it sounds terrible, but I guess if I hadn't had this done, I wouldn't have been able to walk at all. Because there was nothing there. They said in the old days, before they came up with this surgery, they would just leave the hole and the leg would go through nothing and would hit your abdomen, and little by little you would build up muscle and scar tissue to just pull the leg down. But it's called pistoning. So basically the leg would have just done this, freeform. So I guess what I have is much better. But as I said, for the first 7 years, it was pretty bad. I was in a wheelchair because it hurts all the time. Because mostly from the surgery, not so much. He repaired the joint very well, but when you cut that much muscle and soft tissue, the nerves grow and they form neuromas. They ball it like a short circuit. Instead of growing together, they form like a little ball unto themselves, and it's like a little short circuit, and you get like electric shocks. So this was it. So I lived like this, and they wanted to give me pain medication, and it ended my performing career. Really, I was not dancing anymore and acting, and after about 7 years, I just decided that this was not the life that I wanted to live anymore.
Yeah. Before we start, since I don't care, I'm highly.
You don't care? No,
I'm highly interested what happened then. However, what was the mental state of you during this time, and how you overcome these? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since I care a lot about how to motivate, how to to inspire others.
Of course. Well, this is what it was all about. What happened was, it's ridiculous to say I was depressed. Depression was because I couldn't do anything that I did before. I was a very physical person and a very physical actor and dancer, and there were still some things I could do, but I as well as the doctors wanted to manage it with pain medication, which is also extremely depressive. So they were giving me so many pain medications for so many years that then they also gave me antidepressives, like Prozac and things like this. So really my life was, okay, we're going to drug you so you don't feel pain, and then to not feel bad, we're going to give you this other medication that makes you have no emotions. And so I was a little bit like a zombie. I was really, and to me, it was as if I was living my whole life in like some small room, looking out some window, and the world was gray and it was just, why go on? I really felt like I couldn't do it. And I didn't want to take all the medication. This is really terrible how unhealthy it is for years and years to take these things. Because before my accident, I was amazingly healthy person, vegetarian, and I only ate really good, organic, pure, fantastic. I really took care of myself. And now they're like, here, take all these drugs, take all, and I felt horrible. So this is the state I was in, and this is how I felt. And then in 1999, I just thought, and the doctors all said, well, you're doing wonderful. They thought I was great. They said, the joint looks fantastic, and if I wasn't in the wheelchair, I could get up and use a cane and be on one side. I was very strong. They said, well, this is what you need to adjust to what your life will be. And I would see a therapist, and but I decided no, You know, I couldn't do it. What happened was I was going to be 30 years old, and it was going to be the year 2000. It was in 1999.
So were you 24 when it happened?
Yeah, 20. No, I was 30 when it happened. So I was 30. So I was 37. So it happened. Yeah. It was like the worst. Like everything bad that can happen. I turned 30. I was in my accident. Also, this caused me to do things like. You know, the accident, I couldn't work anymore, lost my house, lost, you know, basically everything, because the car accident, not working, I couldn't make any money. So my wife and I, the house that we bought, we lost to the bank. So literally everything in my life was...
I know that I'll forget it during the conversation since it's so interesting. Just before we finish the whole story, would you say that the years after you know, the revive of yourself after the surgery are better than the 30 years during, I mean, how you live during and after the situation?
Well, you know, it's very, all of life, you have these ups and downs, right? And my life was moving along very fast before my accident. I was directing, I lived in California and New York, and I was directing and flying back and forth. I was very busy. And then when the accident happened, it stopped everything, you know, and then nothing happened. You know, so those 7 years really, to me now, are very dark. You know, I actually don't have a lot of memories. I mean, I have memories because it's as if it wasn't my life. Afterwards, though, was kind of amazing, because first of all, when you achieve something that you don't think you can do, right? When you give yourself a goal, which was the important part, having this goal. You know, really, it was one thing to say, okay, I can't live like this, I'm not going to do it. And I just decided, you know, I've tried everything. I've gone to physical therapy, I go to the gym, I've tried swimming, medication. I said, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to work harder than I ever have in my life. I'm going to try what I haven't been able to do ever, you know, and I just set that goal for myself. I didn't know where it would take me, and I started from scratch. I went to the gym, you know, I discovered the importance of your core, your torso, and your pelvis, because I realized that with enough strength and flexibility and everything, I could actually lift myself out of my injury, you know, and support myself with the rest of my body if I was strong enough. And so this is what I did. I worked, and then I had some personal trainers who helped me, and you know, also going to physical therapy. And it took me about 6 months. It took me about 6 months every day. Almost every day, I just worked as hard as I could in the gym and also swimming. And at the end of the 6 months, I actually put the wheelchair, you know, away in the garage. No, I still have it. Every once in a while, I've had to use it. But and I came up with this new regime that I had, and one of the benefits was I had to work so hard that actually the rest of my body benefited as well, because it was like
we all can see.
I was like, okay, I'm doing it for this, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I'm strong now, and I have endurance, and I have, you know, all of the other stuff. And it was really, it was like life started again. Like I had this new life, and I could set goals for myself again.
You're a director, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about use your story as a film, since I think it could have success? It's amazing.
Maybe someday. Maybe I need to be a little bit older. I need a new ending. I don't know where the ending is. I don't know. Well, maybe, who knows? But yes, no, I know. There's been times when I do help every once in a while. Like I try to help other people who are going through this to kind of tell them that it's possible, how to deal with this, because there's certain things, and it doesn't matter, you don't need to be injured, but learning how to listen to your body, like learning how to really listen to your body, because it will really tell you what it wants. Like it tells you what it wants. It tells me, I mean, I have a new workout regime where I almost don't plan what I'm doing until I'm in the gym working out. And as I'm working out, my body will lead me to certain exercises which will be the things I need. So it's very, but you have to become very in tune to yourself.
You definitely have to have experience.
And experience. I mean, I've gone through, I had a lot of, you know, the best thing is in life, we steal from everybody, right? And I steal the best things from every trainer I've had. I've had a couple of personal trainers, you know, because I had the physical therapists, and that's one thing. But then since I was working in the gym, I would always periodically, every year or two, you know, hire a personal trainer, explain to them what I was doing, and have them help me get over the next plateau. Because the thing is you improve, and you know, I had my regime, and I knew what I did, and the exercises I did, and how I stretch or something, and I would get to a certain point and stop. You know, you reach the plateau. You reach the plateau, and you stop, and you think, well, this is really good. And then you're at the plateau for a long time. You know, and I remember kind of thinking, I think there's more. I think I can, you know, maybe, you know, exactly. And then you hire a personal trainer who makes you do things that you hate, right? No.
It depends, but I mean, people in general love results if they are able to get them, you know, as you probably.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what's great. And what was really nice is, you know, through the years, some of the trainers I stayed with for a long time, and then it was like, okay, now I have a new routine, and I know what I'm doing, and I would let a couple of years go by, and then say, you know, geez, I'm having problems now with this shoulder, or I'm having problems someplace else. Maybe I'm working out, I'm doing something not right. There's something not, even though I know a lot about the anatomy now, and I've studied a lot. So that's been good, and not stopping. I mean, that's the thing. The difficult part is, for me, it's different than for normal people. I can't really stop, because if I stop, basically I can't walk anymore. I have about I can go at the most about a week, but usually after about 3 days, I can tell when things go, because I'm counterbalanced so much to the other side, and not only with the counterbalancing, I'm overusing certain muscles, that those ones I have to stretch to not get them to spasm or tighten up or shorten. So I have little things now that happen in this side, that my supporting leg that I use more, the muscles tend to get too strong and they tend to shorten, and then I don't have the range of motion or flexibility, and I can deal with, you know, but it's been so many years now, you know, it's like I know how to deal with it.
I know that it's rude, but how old are you?
How old am I?
I mean, you're so energetic. Energetic, is it?
Well, I'm 55, and October 1st, I'm almost 56.
Wow.
Yeah. But what's nice about this is, if I'm in the gym, what I found that was very helpful is, about 10 years ago when I was in California, I would always choose a workout partner who was in his late 20s or 30s. If you work out with someone younger, because also for me what helps is, because I'm a performer, I mean, because I also act as well as direct, I have an ego, you know, and so if I work out with someone younger, more fit, it really pushes me, because I feel like I can't. What? No, there's no way, you know. So I always thought that I had to be able to do more sit-ups, more push-ups, more reps, or like I'm gonna push. So this was actually very good.
Wow. So you mentioned,
I need a workout partner now. Actually, I'm kind of bored. So I need someone to help push me.
Wow. Have you finished the whole story
of like the accident? And
yeah.
Well,
since I'm like,
you're lost.
Yeah, absolutely, in the flow. So
well, but one thing that's important to remember is, I think our bodies are always changing. And so one thing I just learned, like this year, I started developing some new problems that weren't a part of this accident, that were part of the prolonged working out. I had to become much more aware of joints. You know, my joints and the tendons and some other things started getting some strain and calcification. And so I have just, you know, retrained myself. Actually, I started over again. I didn't get to the point where I couldn't walk or anything, but I started over again saying, okay, first of all, I am older. I'm 55. I can't be pushing the weight that I used to push, because now the joints can't sustain, you know, I can no longer bench press, you know, 250 pounds or, you know, it's like I need to... And so I took a step back and kind of said to myself, I'm going to start again. Like I'm learning how to walk again. I'm a new person. I'm now much older than when I first worked out. And I started again figuring out what's the range of motion I have now? Where do I want my range of motion? I am older. It's okay. I don't need to lift as heavy weights. And I tweaked my workouts to work with who I am now.
But actually, I listened it only twice, and it's like highly scientific stuff about longevity and heavy weights. And I mean, your example is, I would say, you cannot generalize people like you should. All other people should do heavy weights because. But I mean, I give the link into description box. It's from some doctors. I don't know, from USA, but I don't know from which part. And about heavyweights and longevity, and about heavyweights for older people in general, which is highly important to say, since what could work for someone, I would say, uninjured or doesn't have to mean that it will work for you in that case, right?
Right. Well, you know, a lot of it though is mental. You know, I found for me, one of the things that helped me a lot, besides all of the training, and now I've switched also from weights to things with the cables and things that allow more free motion, to not be stuck into what the machine
definitely
is telling me to do, is swimming. I mean, because for me, swimming is the place where I feel no pain, right? Because it supports my body weight and it gives me free weight. So this is where I retrained. In acting, we call it your effort pattern, meaning I retrained the motion that my body makes to do things. And I created this motion, and I created it in the pool, and then I transfer it out of the pool. I transfer it to my workout. So I use some things. This is why the cables, the machines with the cables are good. And I try to now do things that almost use my whole body at one time instead of, and even though I say I lowered the weight, I mean, it's still, it's still probably a little heavier than some other people, but maybe it's half the weight I used to use.
I definitely don't want to say that you should be breaking records.
No,
you know, but I think that you could benefit from the podcast I mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'll send.
No, I'll look at it. But one of the things that's helpful though is these goals, these mental goals. I think that's one of the things though why sometimes I would overwork out. I'm very good at like reaching a goal. So if I said, okay, I want to leg press, you know, I'm at 180 and I want to go to 200, and it's very easy for me to look at that and go, okay, 180, okay, so I can do it. I'm doing 8 reps or 12 reps. I can do 15, 18, great. So I can do 18 reps now. So now I'm going to raise the weight and go down, you know. But the problem is you keep going, and it gets to a point where I go, okay, I can stop. I don't need to keep, because also I'm not the tallest person in the world, so I can't, you know, there's only so big or strong I can be. And the other thing is I have to start thinking about why am I, besides needing to walk, I look at it this way. I consider myself an athlete, and this is what I tell when I teach acting. So we'll talk about acting. Is as an actor or a dancer.
Definitely check. Do you have websites or something like that? I mean, I have personal experience with Steve. acting courses, and actually I'm not decided, but I maybe would like to go again.
You were good.
Maybe
you were good. I know, but you were very good. Actually, I thought you had a lot of natural talent, and you progressed quickly. But I know you had to focus on this. I mean, obviously, we all have to in our lives. We need to focus sometimes. Sometimes when we try to do too much, you don't get anywhere.
But do you have any sources where people could find you?
Well, my company is Gallimaufry, which is a very strange word, and I've got a couple of companies. I've, since I work, around the world. I'm here in Prague in the Czech Republic, but I'll be going back to the United States. So I have Gallimaufry.org is the nonprofit company, but there's also a Gallimaufry CZ. There's a Czech version because I am directing and doing some things here in the Czech Republic, and so everything's online and on Facebook and on normal.
So I'll add the links to the description box so you can check it there. As I know you are always shredded, at least for a normal person. What do you eat?
I think I eat very healthily. I eat. One thing I try to tell myself is to listen to my body. I noticed how I figured this out was I pulled back and I ate very simply to start with, and I would eat very simple foods and actually feel how my body felt afterwards. And so, of course, the decisions I made about my eating right now are fairly standard things. Not very many carbohydrates. It doesn't help me. It doesn't do any. Breads and pastas and all those normal things. They don't help me when I eat them. I mean, tastes great at the moment, but then like the next day, it's like I started noticing the days I didn't have a lot of energy. The days before, I didn't have enough heavy greens like spinaches and blueberries. So what happens is I little by little started doing anything. So now I'm on a very strict diet, not because I want to be on, is because it actually makes me feel good. One of the things I started out by literally cutting anything that was too many sauces and fats and where they throw things on the food to try to change the taste. I thought I want to taste everything plain, so I know what's happening. So I do have a lot of protein. I have to force myself to have more protein. I was a vegetarian for a lot of years, and I could live being a vegetarian. But when you work out this much, it's almost impossible to get. I mean, you can do it, and I know there's people who can do it, vegetarian and vegan proteins or something. But when you're like my life being an actor and traveling so much, you can't plan your meals. You can't say, I have to get this type of vegetable protein or something, and you find yourself in Scotland and you're like, I can't find any. But they have sausage. No. No. So I have grains, I eat grains, I eat a lot of...
So guys, I'm very sorry. Moc se omlouvám. But the battery, the camera turned off. So, sorry, Steve.
No problem.
Could you tell us what you eat?
One more time.
One more time.
So, what I was talking about was the fact that I discovered, and it was a while ago, I discovered that my body tells me what it wants. Now it took some time to figure this out. I cut back and I would eat single foods, single things, see how I felt the next day, and I discovered that eating the right thing is more important than how much you eat. Okay, so my diet's pretty good in terms of if you look at it, it's fairly low fat. Eat pretty good, healthy, clean proteins, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits. But what I decided is, in terms of exercising, if I give myself the right foods, I can eat as much as I want. My body knows it has nutrition, and it loses all the excess weight. If I start thinking I'm dieting, and start restricting myself and starving myself, if I don't get enough certain nutrition, my body will automatically start gaining weight because in some sense, because I work, it knows what I need for the lifestyle I have. And when I don't give it what I need, it just starts saving weight because it says, okay, he's starving. You're going to need more energy. You're going to need more food. So,
have you ever? I mean, I don't want to. I mean, it's fine when people disagree with each other. So I just want to ask you: have you ever count calories?
I haven't counted calories in a long time because I found that counting the calories was. I started restricting my calories.
I mean, during that time.
Even now, like knowing what I'd be interested to know what it is I eat, but
since satiety is, I mean, you can have like I don't know, when you imagine eating the whole chocolate, for example, Milka or something like that. It could have like, I don't know, 600 calories.
Yeah.
And if you eat vegetable, you could have like 20 kgs of spinach or something like that.
Yeah.
It has like, sorry, I don't know, sorry.
No, but
I mean, the satiety and hunger has higher importance on that, if you know what I mean.
Well, but this is and this is only my personal belief. I don't know anything about the science behind it, because for me, it's only what I've discovered myself. That when I was younger, I tried to restrict calories, right? And I would be like, they said men should have, 2,000 calories a day, or if you're working a lot, 2,500 or 2,000. But the problem was, I was always like, oh, I want to be more shredded, I want to be skinnier, I want to be more, and I would cut the calories. I would eat 1,000 calories a day and still be heavy. I would say, I don't understand this, I'm not eating enough. Whereas I maybe started eating really good food and eating a lot more, and probably 2,000 or 3,000 calories. But as I said before, I was giving my body everything it had. So if I ate chocolate, my body was like, we don't need it. And I wasn't gaining any weight. So it would be interesting, of course, now to say, I wonder what it is that I'm eating. I don't know, but I try to look at nutrition. I try to look at the nutrition and forget the calories. I don't count calories. I don't count grams of fat. I don't want to know. I know what makes me feel good. I know if I don't eat spinach, the next day I'm kind of sleepy. I'm just tired. And what's funny is I found out like this, like one day I'll be sitting here and I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like working out.
I need some spinach.
It's like, what's wrong with me? I don't think, and all of a sudden I think, wait a second, I didn't have any green vegetables yesterday. And it's weird. And then I eat it and I'm like, so now I know why they made the Popeye cartoons. No,
I think that it's the best option. If you can do intuitive eating, it's perfect. However, if people were able intuitive to do it, there wouldn't be obesity, if you know what I mean. Since, as you mentioned, Steve eats mostly, I would say, healthy foods like veggies, proteins, some healthy fats and things like that, right?
Yeah. Good fats, I'll say, it's like avocado and nuts and things. I think, they have oils and they have stuff, and so I get enough. I mean, I look at the food I eat, and I do eat out at restaurants and things like this, and I said, okay, everybody else has sauces, has sugar and salt and these things in foods. I don't need to put it in anything because it's out there every place else I go to eat.
I think it's perfect that it's worked for you, but for most people, I think it's hard to learn again our mind and body to
But I stopped. But see, this is the whole thing. My accident forced me to stop. My whole life stopped, and I had to figure out. Imagine what it's like being an adult, and all the experience you had in life. And imagine being like a child again, saying, I have to learn to walk. I have to learn and so you're able to discover things you didn't discover the first time. So like when I learned to work out, when I was exercising or doing weights, when I was 16, 17, 18, well, I'm a lot smarter now, and I know a lot more, and science knows more, and we've learned a lot more about working out and about the things to do and not do, so that when I started now, much better than when I started before.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Cool.
So it's good? Is there...
yeah, so I'll check my concepts or questions. To make sure that I haven't forgotten.
Oh, I should talk about this. A cheat.
Yeah. So how strict are you with your diet? And do you have any cheat meals, cheat days, or?
Well, cheat meals, cheat days. You know what? I give myself the freedom that if my body tells me, if I'm craving something, and this just happened like 2 weeks ago. I don't know what happened. If I'm craving a pint of ice cream, and I said, I want Ben and Jerry's Cherry Garcia so bad. Like what I learned is when I don't eat it, all of a sudden I'm like chips and like I'm eating other things. It's like because my body is for some reason is telling me I want ice cream. So what I discovered is if my body says I want ice cream, I eat the ice cream. I'll go to the store and I'll buy myself the bit and I'll eat the whole thing. And next day, and it's like, great, I did it. And the next day, then I'm back to eating normally. And my body was like, I don't know why I was craving it, but I found out it was worse when I didn't eat. Sometimes it's beef. Because I don't eat beef usually. I don't eat red meat. I eat chicken, I eat fish, turkey. And every once in a while, I'm just like, oh my God, that steak looks so good. I can't stand. So I'll go eat a steak. And then what happens is like, oh, that was great.
I didn't have to say that you are an acting teacher.
But it was really like, oh, that was great. And then I'm happy. And then I go back to eating because I'm eating strictly the way I want, not because I'm telling myself to, because it feels good, because I like it, because it makes me feel good. So in the same respect, if one day my body says, sometimes it'll be, I want a drink, I want a margarita. We love to go to, Las Adelitas and get a mango margarita. And so sometimes if I say, I want a pitcher of margaritas, it's like, okay. Now sometimes it makes me feel terrible. But so to me to call it cheating or a day off, but it doesn't happen very often. But I have found that if I don't tell myself no, I don't really want it. If I can say I can have it anytime I want, I'll let myself eat it if I really want it. If I'm like going, oh gosh, I really need it.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said about freedom.
No, it really is, because who is it? Because then it is like being in prison. All you're doing is going, I want candy, I want candy, I want candy, I want sugar, which is the worst thing in the world. Sugar is such a bad cycle of, yes, it's great, you have sugar, and we're like, we're hyped up, and then afterwards you feel so terrible, and then the next day I feel like I have a hangover from too much drinking. It's just like,
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, how often do you train? In general, I try to go. It's terrible. I work out too much. I work out almost every day. Cool.
I go almost every day. I vary it though. Every other day, my workouts are. I've split up my body parts. So. I get to everything at least once a week. I do every other day also cardio. So I'll do weights on 2 or 3 body parts, and then cardio, and then different body parts. So this is why I go almost every day, because I know that the cardio is important, and I stretch. Now what I've started doing is I stretch. I've learned, we learn the hard way as we get older. If you don't stretch, that's the worst thing. I mean, talk about your joints and things. And I used to stretch, and I kind of little by little you give it up, because it's like you run out of time working out. You go, I don't have enough time, but so the stretching is the important part.
I cannot say more than just watch the podcast, since it's focused on longevity, right? And exercising for older people and cardio for older people and so on. So it's right. And it's also maybe for my friend, the last question. Some of maybe you guys I care about features of successful people. So, what are the 3 most important character features which every successful actor should have, according to Steve Josephson?
Determination. I mean, you must work hard. You must have determination. If it's something that you want to do, you must commit. So I would say commitment or determination. It doesn't happen by accident. There are very few people in life that think things happen by accident, good things. But for the vast majority of people, if we want to plan our lives, so acting is acting, but it can be anything. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of hard work. Excellence, there was a great quote I heard from someone. Excellence is a habit.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, excellence is a habit. So to be a good actor, you have to work. If it's what you want to do, you must commit to it. You must work hard. If you're lazy, you will have the life that comes to a lazy person. Okay, so that's number 1. A positive attitude.
Before we, go to positive attitude, I mean, for me, like personal trainer and bodybuilder, I know exactly what means hard work to get the best possible body. It's like nutrition,
yes.
You know. What does it exactly mean for actor? Like how?
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
You need to keep working. It's the same thing. You never think, I'm done, I know enough. You're always working to improve, always also being active about trying to find work. I mean, you can't just sit home and think, oh, someone's gonna discover me, or mail your picture out, or go to a casting and think it'll happen. You know, really, to have a real career, castings are one thing and you can get some little role, but you have to push, you have to make it happen. There is nobody in this life who cares whether you are successful or not, as much as you do yourself. Like, I'm the only person who really cares if I'm successful or not. Somebody else, now some people may help you. This is why I was going to get into my second one, a positive attitude, and to be a nice person. If you're nice and you have a positive attitude and you meet and you make friends, people will want to help you. They're like, oh, we like you. This is a nice guy. Let's help him. You know, if you're an ass, you know, people are like, forget. You know, so this is why, you know, a positive attitude and this outlook, because also we tend to reach our goals, right? If you give yourself a goal, and I have a positive attitude, and I say, I'm going to get there. Chances are, most of the time, and I work really hard, I will get there. In my mind, if I'm like, they don't like me, it's not going to happen, or he gets more something, or people like it. Well, what you're doing is telling yourself, I'm not going to get there. And so you're pretending you want to have a career, you're pretending you want to be successful, but you're not making it happen. So those are two. That's why the commitment and the positive attitude. And the other thing, I think, is set realistic expectations. One thing, now I do teach, I teach, besides directing and coaching professionally, I also have taught levels at university and other schools. And one thing I like to tell people is there's this image in the world for actors, for performers, singers, it doesn't matter, because of, I don't know if it's because of competition show, I don't know what it is. People think that you just need to go to the right audition, and if you get cast in the right thing, then you're a star and you're famous and you'll have a career. And this is not true. That does happen sometimes. There'll be 2 or 3 people out of tens of thousands that will happen to, right? Most of the time, it's hard work. You need to set realistic, like if you are going to be realistic expectations to keep moving yourself forward. If it's any other career other than acting, let's say you're a business executive. You don't get out of school and say, I want to be the CEO of Lufthansa. I'm just going to go, and you expect to go to the right interview, and someone is going to say, you can be the CEO. No, it's never going to happen. You say, okay, I love this. I want to run an airline. It'll probably take me 20 years. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to look at the guy who right now is the CEO, and what did he do before? And he was managing director of the and you go, okay, it's going to take me 20 years. And you have this expectation that, okay, I'm going to work, and I'll do this job, and then this, and you keep moving yourself forward in this happen. But for some reason, it's like we have this idea that acting is magic. You know, that you'll just become famous. Everybody will know you when you'll get hired. And it just doesn't happen that way. You know, so those are my 3 things for acting. You know, if you do that, chances are, I have lots of friends who support themselves acting. You know, some of them may not be the most famous people in the world, but they are acting all the time. They support themselves acting, whether it's in New York, or here in Prague, or anything. And it's just, it's that simple. You know, it's a job like anything else. And the last thing I want to say is, and I think it's where the camera cut out earlier, is being an actor, sorry, being an actor is being an athlete, right? Being an actor is being an athlete. When you are an actor, your tool is your body. This is what I have to act with. So I want flexibility, strength, and endurance. Because I want to be able to do anything that I'm called upon to do. Doesn't matter what they ask me to do. They want me to hang upside down by my feet and sing. I want to be able to do that. Because again, I don't want to hurt myself. I want it to be easy. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And that's the other thing too, is like when you, when I say flexible, I want flexible in a variety of ways, meaning not just flexibility in range of motion, but flexibility in the type of things I can do, the type of exercising or ways that I can use my body. It only helps me as an actor have a larger range of motion of what I can express to people, or what type of acting I can do. So in that way, I'd say whatever you would tell a football player, hockey player, or something, you train, you eat right, you train, you sleep, you say, this is my life, this is my career. I need to, and this is what I tell people, if you do that, you will be successful.
So this was Steve Josephson. Sorry. Thank you so much, Steve.
Sure.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Wow. Perfect.
Okay, great.